He's getting all mad. They're squaring up. The umpire's like, oh, I'm out. They start squaring up. Tim Anderson drops the glove. They're throwing punches. Tim Anderson throws him out, and José Ramírez lays him out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bobby Valentine Sports Show. I'm your host, Frank Rampin, as always, and we're going to get into this another crazy week of baseball, very entertaining week of baseball yet again, and we're just going to go right into it. We're going to get into our weekly recap. José Ramírez and Tim Anderson just had maybe the greatest MLB fight I have ever seen in my entire life. Maybe the best one ever, arguably. Oh man. José Ramírez rocked Tim Anderson. We're gonna get it. We're just gonna watch the video right now. Here we go. We're going right in. So José Ramírez comes up to the plate. I believe it's the bottom of the sixth inning. Rips a double over the first base bag. That brings in Andrés Giménez. He comes around. And José Ramírez, the hustle guy he is, dives into second base. And he's not happy here with Tim Anderson. Later we find out that he's not happy with how hard Tim Anderson tags. So he gets up, puts his hands in his face. He's getting all mad. They're squaring up. The umpire's like, oh, I'm out. They start squaring up. Tim Anderson drops the glove. They're throwing punches. Tim Anderson throws him out, and José Ramírez lays him out. Look at this. We're going back. Look at this live. They square up. Tim Anderson throws a couple wild punches. José Ramírez is getting pulled back by Michael Kopech, and he throws a punch and lays out Tim Anderson. Look at this replay again. They square up. I've never seen the players square up like that ever. And boom! Jose knocks him down. Oh my gosh. That might be the first ever official knockout in the history of baseball. The first ever official knockout. Oh my gosh. And that was not even close to the end of it. They were going nuts. Like, José Ramírez looked like he had some sort of fire in his eyes. He was losing his mind. Tim Anderson was like stumbling. They couldn't get him off the field. They had to shove him all the way off. He was pushing his teammates back. He was stumbling the whole time. And that wasn't even the end of it. The coaches started going at it. Pedro Grifol, the manager of the White Sox, was going at it with Terry Francona, who's the manager of the Guardians. And then the coaches started going into it. Emmanuel Clase was not happy. And if you see back here, Grifol and the third base coach of the Guardians, they start going into it here. The third base coach tries to get into his face, and they're got to be separated. Look at this from a different angle. Look at this. These are coaches going at each other. And that starts a whole nother brawl. Eloy Jiménez, of course, because Eloy Jiménez can't not get hurt in the weirdest ways possible. Every single time, hobbles out of the pile, hurt. Emmanuel Clase is losing his mind. And Andrew Vaughn has to pick up Tim Anderson and remove him from the field. It's the second time. Tim Anderson got shoved into the locker room one time, sprinted back onto the field, and Andrew Vaughn had to pick him up and bring him back onto the field. So Tim Anderson losing his mind, José Ramírez losing his mind, the coaches losing their mind, the third base coach is losing their mind. And this is one of the craziest brawls I've ever seen. It lasted about 15 minutes. And after everything was all said and done, they ejected Tim Anderson. They ejected José Ramírez, obviously, because, I mean, how can you not? And then they eject both managers, Terry Francona and Pedro Grifol. They eject the third base coach for the Guardians, and they also eject Emmanuel Clase. So 6 players are ejected, 4 Cleveland Guardians and 2 Chicago White Sox. But let's go watch this again. We're pulling this back up again. Look at this fight. Are you kidding me? Jose slides in. He doesn't like the hard tag. He's not happy about it. He gets up. He's going to point into Tim Anderson's face. And the umpire here is like, hey, guys, break it up. And he's like, all right, let's fight. Throwing down the gloves. He's like, oh, no chance. I'm out of here. Tim Anderson misses a couple. And Jose just roundhouse right hook to the jaw of Tim Anderson. Oh, this might be the cleanest punch. This and Rougned Odor. Oh, 2 cleanest punches in MLB history probably. And you know who had a front row view for both of them? Elvis Andrus. Elvis Andrus had a front row seat for both of arguably the greatest fights in the history of the sport. Definitely of the 2000s, but oh my gosh. Like, we have not seen a fight like this since, I mean, Rougned Odor punched Jose Bautista one time. They squared up. Tim Anderson dropped the glove. Like, that was a hockey fight. That looked like a hockey fight right over the bag at second base. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm all here for it. I've always liked José Ramírez. He's always been one of the most underrated players in baseball. I've talked about it on this show. He's been an MVP candidate before. He's one of the best players in the American League, and he is every single year. But whoa, I might like him even more now because Tim Anderson, what is happening? Like, Tim Anderson's getting a little out of hand. It's like the second or third fight that he's been in his career. Like, I saw one. Remember last year when him and Donaldson had that situation where they got the benches cleared there and Tony La Russa was running out of the dugout like crazy, man. Not really running, but you know what I'm trying to say. I was at that game, actually. Tim Anderson, always getting in fights. This is insane. He's tried to throw punches here, and it did not go well for Timmy. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what else to say about that. But Jose Ramirez is a dog. Okay. So moving on to our next segment of the weekly recap, because that could be a whole video on itself, a whole breakdown video of itself. But I can't wait for John Boy to get the reading the lips on that one. Oh, it's going to be unbelievable. But moving on, we're going to go to baseball's hottest team right now. And if you've been under a rock since the All-Star break and you haven't been watching any baseball, the Chicago Cubs are absolutely tearing the cover off the baseball and are the hottest team in the league by far. And they couldn't even get stopped by the MLB's best team so far this year, the Braves. They beat the Braves 2 out of 3 in a series. So they are just soaring high right now. Fly that W in Chicago. They've won 13 of their last 16. They're tied up with the Reds. They actually, right now, as I'm speaking today on August 7th, they have the last wildcard spot in the National League. They just soared out of nowhere. As of today, they have scored 164 runs since the All-Star game, the most in baseball in that time. And not only are they in the mix, in the thick of this wildcard race right now in the National League, they got a shot at the Central. Like, the Brewers and the Reds have been very inconsistent, both, especially the Reds. The Reds, we'll talk about them in a little bit, but they have been playing bad since August started, since the last 2 weeks. And the Brewers are still not very consistent. So this team has a shot. These trade acquisitions, Jeimer Candelario, he might be the player of the week, but they are coming together nicely as a team, and this offense looks very, very scary. So we'll see if they keep going, keep soaring them, flying that W in Chicago. I've heard the win song in Chicago, "Go Cubs, go," every day for the past 2 weeks. It's actually insane. This Cubs team looks electric right now. Very, very fun to watch. So now that it is August, about 5 days ago, they released the July players of the month for every single position, or not every single position, I'm sorry. The July players of the month for hitters on both leagues, pitchers, rookies, all that. So we're going to get into this now. So the American League Player of the Month, if you guys could guess, I'll give you any American League Player of the Month. I don't know. Maybe the same guy who won it last month, Shohei Ohtani. And this is his second, like I just said, the second consecutive AL Player of the Month award for Mr. Shohei Ohtani. And the last person to do that was Shohei Ohtani back in 2021 when he won MVP. So he's right back to MVP form. Something would have to happen. I think a meteor would have to hit Earth this year for Shohei Ohtani not to win the American League MVP. So that's pretty much locked up. He hit 282 over the month with an AL leading 9 home runs, and his OPS was up over 1,000 at 1152. So, I mean, he's just a cyborg when it comes to hitting. Oh, yeah, and he pitches, too. So 4 starts, 29 strikeouts, and 25 in a third inning to a 4.97 ERA, which is a little bit worse than what he's used to. He's been dealing with some injuries. He's had a bunch of starts cut short over the past couple months. But, I mean, when you're getting that production from somebody who's leading the league in home runs, I mean, I don't know what else you could say. So Shohei Ohtani, AL Player of the Month, second consecutive award he wins, and of course, he's just an absolute dog. So, moving on to the National League, and somebody who was the front of trade speculation for a very long time, Cody Bellinger, he started tearing the absolute cover off the baseball. He hit 400 in the month of July. 400 in the entire month of July. Whoa. With an 1,122 OPS, 8 homers, and 24 RBIs. So, I mean, whoa. No wonder why the Cubs didn't want to get rid of him. This is part of the reason why they are surging the way they're surging right now. So, Cody Bellinger back to MVP form, especially in this month of July, and he's keeping it going as this Cubs team doesn't look like they're slowing down at any point soon. Now we'll get into the pitchers of the month. For the American League, we got Tyler Glasnow, or maybe Killian Murphy. I don't know. Pretty funny timing here as Oppenheimer and Tyler Glasnow at the same time. I mean, movie pitcher of the month. He made 6 starts in the month to a 2.11 ERA, 51 strikeouts, and 38 in the third innings. And he held his opponents to a 186 batting average throughout the entire month. Pretty impressive stuff for Killian Murphy, Tyler Glasnow. Sorry about that. And the National League Player of the Month, Corbin Burns, for the shaky Brewers. He's a consistent starter every 5 days who can get them a win. But, I mean, this team needs to... They could have expanded the gap in the Central, but they have not been able to do it. Corbin Burns had 6 starts in July, with a 1.85 ERA, with a .72 whip, 47 strikeouts in 39 innings. And his opponents hit a collective 115 batting average with a 169 slugging percentage. A 169 slugging percentage, not batting average, slugging. The batting average is 115. Whoa. Lowest marks in baseball in July among pitchers with at least 20 innings pitched. Obviously, 169 slugging is insane. Moving on to the rookies, Tristan Casas for the Boston Red Sox has turned his season around. He started off the season kind of, not miserable. I don't want to say miserable, but he had his struggles. He's a rookie getting adjusted to the Major League pitching, so you got to give him some wiggle room there. But he turned it around in the month of July. He hit .349, OPS up over 1,000, almost 1,200, 1199 there, and 7 homers in the month. So, wow. And then another rookie who's been very impressive in the National League, Francisco Alvarez, the catcher for the Mets. He had 8 home runs and had 16 RBIs in the month and had a .623 slugging percentage and a .974 OPS. He has a very, very good power bat. He looks like to be the Mets catcher of the future if the Mets are ever going to be able to figure something out. But we're not going to get into the Mets too much. It's hurting my head. So we're going to the relievers of the month now. Felix Bautista from the Baltimore Orioles. Just, oh my goodness. 11 scoreless appearances in 14 innings, 24 strikeouts, and only 4 walks in the whole month. 8 saves, and he only allowed 7 base runners all month. So in the month of July, Felix Bautista had more saves than he had runners on the bases for him pitching. That's unheard of stuff. And there have been 4 Relievers of the Month awards given out this year, and this guy's got 3. He's won 3 of the 4 Reliever of the Month awards. Felix Bautista. Absolutely dominating people. 103, 100-mile-an-hour splitters from up here. I don't want to hit that guy. I don't know if anybody wants to hit that guy. Clearly, nobody wants to hit that guy, and nobody can. And then our reliever of the month is Devin Williams. He had 10 saves in the month, which is very impressive. He had a 1.54 ERA with 21 strikeouts and a .94 whip in 12 appearances, which was 11.2 innings. So very, very successful month for all these guys. Felix Bautista's numbers there, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And so for this week, right, my favorite segment of the weekly recap, the outfield play of the week. I didn't know what to pick this week. There were so many amazing outfield plays of the week. So I got 4. Got 4 outfield plays of the week for you this week. And we'll start off in St. Louis with the Rockies taking on the Cardinals. And Nolan Gorman up here, and he smokes one into the right center field gap. Brenton Doyle uses his speed and lays out and makes a ridiculous catch onto the warning track. So Brenton Doyle, one of the bright spots of this Rockies team, young star, center fielder who's got amazing speed that you can see there, covers a ton of ground there and lays out onto the warning track, making an amazing catch. So Brenton Doyle, unbelievable play there. And actually, our second play of the week, because you'll see, I have no way to decide between these. Same game. Not the same player, but same game. So we'll jump to the 4th inning now, and we got Dylan Carlson at the plate, the switch-hitting outfielder for the Cardinals. He get a pop one into foul territory down the right field line, and Nolan Jones is running over, and he's going to jump into the netting in foul territory to protect the fans, and jump on a fan's lap and make a ridiculous catch, and then hose one into second. He didn't make the double play. A run ended up scoring on a sac fly, but look at this. He loses the glasses, and just no regard for himself, throws his body onto the netting, and makes a ridiculous catch. But a run scores, but 2 great outfield plays from the same game from those Colorado Rockies. So now, we're going to jump to Oakland, actually, in what was the second reverse boycott, technically, in Oakland. So this time, I was at the first one. I talked about it a little bit. June 13th against the Rays, there was a reverse boycott planned for the Oakland Coliseum, and 27,000 people showed up, and chants every single inning. People stood up, silent for the entire first batter of the 5th inning, and then shelled the team's chants so loud. I had a video of that a couple weeks ago, last week. I don't even remember anymore. But we touched on that. They did a second one this weekend on Saturday, August 5th. 37,000 people showed up to the Oakland Coliseum. 37,000 people. And it was loud. It was going nuts. And guess what? The A's won again. So it looks like the A's need these protests. They need people in the stands in order for them to get to win some games. So, I mean, what else is there to say? Come on now. So, we're going to jump to this game. We got 2 more plays, and both of them actually came from this game. So, bottom of the 4th inning, 0-0 ball game. Seth Brown at the plate, 2-2 count. Smokes a changeup that's honestly 2 balls out to center field. Luis Matos goes back and makes an unbelievable leaping catch at the wall. I saw this live, and he slammed his face into the wall there. Ross Stripling got 2 back-to-back defensive plays there. Brandon Crawford made an unbelievable backhanded pick, throw off his back foot against Zach Geloff, and the next batter, Seth Brown, did this, and Luis Matos slammed his face against the wall to sacrifice the body and make an unbelievable catch. So, moving forward into this game, we're going to head to the top of the 7th inning. And this is a 1-0 game. The A's took a 1-0 lead. And Brandon Crawford's up with a runner on first base and nobody out. And he's going to pop one into shallow left field. J.J. Bleday is going to come on. He's going to slide, and he's going to make the catch. He gets up, spins, and fires one to first, an absolute laser beam, to double off Patrick Bailey at first base. So, an unbelievable double play here from J.J. Bleday. As Dallas Braden would say, J.J. Bleday, baby. Makes a nice sliding catch, spins, and hoses one to first base. Gotta love that from J.J. Great outfield play in Oakland from both teams. So those are the 4 outfield plays of the week that I guess we have this week. Didn't know which ones to pick. I absolutely had no chance to pick between those 4, because they were all ridiculous. So let's talk about that game a little bit. As you see, during that point when J.J. Bleday made that play, it was 1-0 A's. And in the 8th inning, Jock Peterson would hit a sac fly to tie the game at 1. And then in the bottom half, Seth Brown hit a single to make it 2-1 Oakland, and that would hold and prevail. So in 2 reverse boycott games at the Coliseum, with a combined over like 60,000 fans in attendance, the A's are 2-0, and both games, they won the game 2-1. So I'm just saying, guys, I know we don't want to give anything to John Fisher, but the boys show out when we're there. They show out when we're there. Okay, but that's besides the point. So we're going to roll over to yesterday, to our game of the week, and another game from this Battle of the Bay Bridge series, right, between the Giants and the A's in Oakland, and this was actually yesterday. Originally, I had the game of the week scheduled for the one on Saturday, because that was a great game. 2 great defensive plays that you just saw, and a nail-biting finish. Yesterday, we were treated to another amazing game, even better than the one on Saturday, in my opinion. Another great crowd, 27,000 at the Coliseum, and we'll pick it up here in the top of the 1st inning because runs came early and they came often in this ballgame. J.D. Davis smokes one down the right field line. That's going to bring in a run. That's going to make it 1-0 Giants here early as Lamont Wade Jr. comes in to score. But Luis Medina is able to settle down and get out of it to hold the damage to 1 run. So now, in the bottom half of the 1st inning, Zach Geloff is going to come up with 2 outs and hit a double down the right field line to get himself in scoring position there with 2 outs. And Seth Brown is going to hit one. And tell me if you've seen a play that looks like this before. Almost identical to Luis Matos' outfield play of the week, but this time he's unable to get there. The ball bounds off the wall, bounces back towards second base. Brown's rounding second base. He's on his way to third. So an RBI triple there for the A's outfielder to tie up the score here at the bottom of the 1st inning. So quick offense for both teams as it's 1-1 after 1. And immediately in the top of the 2nd inning, trouble strikes again for Luis Medina as Lamont Wade Jr. pokes one off the end of his bat that'll softly fall in front of Estieri Ruiz. And that's going to be another RBI. So that's going to put the Giants up 2-1. Then Medina settles down again and is able to hold the Giants to just 1 run in the frame. And up steps Nick Allen with a runner on, and he pounds the first pitch he sees from Ross Stripling over the fence in left field for his 2nd home run of the season. 2nd home run of the season for Nick Allen, and that's going to put the A's up 3-2 in the 2nd inning. So a lot of offense very early on, couple from very unexpected people. Nick Allen, that's for sure one of them, hitting a home run, only his 2nd of the year. So pretty good stuff there. But then right away, Medina's in trouble again. Bases loaded, nobody out here in the top of the 3rd. And Patrick Bailey, nice piece of hitting as he takes a changeup that's well off the plate, pokes it into right field. That's going to tie the game as only one run's able to score as Blade gets it in nicely. But a tie game yet again in the top of the third inning. And still in the top of the third, Brandon Crawford up to the plate. He's going to ground run to short. That looks like it's going to be a double play. Flip to second to Geloff, but not in time to first as Crawford's able to beat it out. So another run comes in and the Giants take the lead 4-3. So 2 runs there for the Giants in the top of the third inning to take the lead right back from the A's to make it 4-3. So now we're going to go to the 5th inning, and Lamont Wade Jr. again comes up with 2 outs, runners on first and third, and Austin Pruitt leaves this one over the plate, and he smokes it into right field, and that's going to be an RBI single for Lamont Wade Jr., his second of the day, and extends the San Francisco lead to 5-3 in the 5th inning. And the next batter for the Giants is going to be Thairo Estrada, right? And on the first pitch he gets, with runners on first and third and 2 outs, mind you, he's going to lay a bunt down, and it's a beauty. Jordan Diaz was not expecting that. He's way well off behind the bag. Perfect bunt from Thairo Estrada. That's going to be an RBI single. So 6-3 ball game now. A's are down 3 runs, 6-3. Nick Allen comes up again in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And he's going to get a hanging off-speed pitch here from Alex Cobb, excuse me. And he's going to absolutely turn on it and deposit that thing over the left field wall for his second home run of the day. It'll be his first career 2-home run day for Nick Allen, as he is not known for his speed. He is known for his speed. He's not known for his power. First career 2-home run game. And before going into this game, Nick Allen had 1 home run on the season. So he doubled his year total today in this one game. So great stuff there. Makes the game 6-4. And then we'll jump ahead to the 6th inning. The bases loaded here in the bottom of the 6th inning. A's rookie, Tyler Soderstrom, is going to take a 4-pitch walk here. And that's going to make this game 6-5 San Francisco. So unable to find the zone there as he loses him on 4 pitches. And that brings up Shea Langoliers, the catcher. And Shea is going to come up here. He's going to take this 0-1 pitch, and he's going to rip it right through the 5-hole into left field. That's going to bring in 2. A's take the lead 7-6. Oakland up. Coliseum bumping. 27,000 on their feet. Having a great time. A's take the lead 7-6. So a very back and forth start of the game, and Shea Langoliers puts the A's ahead again after a wild 6 innings of baseball. So then we're going to jump ahead to the 7th inning, and Tony Kemp, one of the A's loved players, comes up with runners on second and third with only 1 away, and he's going to promptly fly one into fairly deep right field for Michael Conforto, and that's going to bring in another insurance run, a very important run there for the A's to make it 8-6, and that's all the A's would need. The 2-run cushion would be enough for Angel Felipe, who struck out the side in the 8th inning. He looked very impressive, and then Trevor May came in and locked it down in the 9th inning as he gets Brandon Crawford to ground out to Seth Brown at first base to end the ball game. In the 8th, A's get an 8-6 win in our game of the week in a very back and forth affair with a lot of offense from both sides, a lot of different scoring opportunities. It was a very interesting game to watch and a very great series to watch as an A's fan, really. Like, coming in with the reverse boycott 2.0, and yet again, the team prevails and comes through with a win against the Crosstown Bay Bridge rivalry, and 2 for 2 in boycotts at the Coliseum. So, looks like we're going to need some more. Alrighty. Then we're going to jump into our last segment here, the MLB standings update, like we do every week. And we're going to jump right into it here. We're going to start with the AL East, as always, and the Baltimore Orioles. I said it a couple weeks ago, and ever since I said that, really, they're taking off. They're scorching hot. They just swept the Mets. Given the Mets are struggling, they just went on a fire sale. But this Orioles team looks very, very, very good. The offense looks very dangerous, and it looks as good as anybody else at the moment. Like, that Rangers offense, sure, it's been extremely more consistent. That's true. They've been doing this all year. But this lineup and what they're doing right now, the runs that they're producing, they almost look like the same team as this Rangers team. They're able to do as much as that team. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Rays, they may be getting on track a little bit. as I said last week, they started off their crazy, I think it was 31-9. They got 31 wins before they had 10 losses, which is insane. But then they went 30-31 after that. So they were under 500. But they just won 3 straight road series, which is very, very difficult. And as of right now, they hold the AL's top wildcard spot. So they're still in the very thick of it. They still have a chance of this division because the Orioles are going to have to play this well for the rest of the season if they're going to want to stay where they are right now, which I don't know if that's possible because they're playing unbelievable right now. Jumping into more of a wildcard team and the Toronto Blue Jays. And let's talk about Davis Schneider for a second. Davis Schneider, right? My ex-roommate now, because my ex-roommate, Dan Beebe, he's pitching for the Tri-City Valley Cats in the Frontier League. So he just won Pitcher of the Week the other week, so good for Beebe. But one of Beebe's very, very good friends, Davis Schneider, just made his Major League debut on Friday night for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Red Sox in Fenway. And what did he do in his first career at-bat? He homered over the monster in his first career Major League at-bat, becoming the 4th Toronto Blue Jay to homer in his first career at-bat. And that was just the beginning of it, because Davis Schneider then becomes, throughout the series, he plays all 3 games of the series, and he does so well, he became the first player in Major League Baseball history with 9 hits, including 2 home runs in his first 3 big league games. Let me say that again. The first player ever with 9 hits and 2 home runs in their first 3 Major League games. So Davis Schneider, oh my gosh, Beebe, oh my gosh. Like, I've talked to him on the phone before. You talk to him every night. Are you kidding me? Like, 9 hits, and so I just said 9 hits in the first 3 games. Those 9 hits in his first 3 games, that's tied for the most hits in a player's first 3 games since 1901. Tied with Coker Triplett in 1938. So he's tied with somebody from 1938 for the most hits in the first 3 games. But he added on 2 home runs over that to put himself stand alone as the only player in MLB history with 9 hits and 2 home runs in his first 3 games. And he also had 4 RBIs yesterday. And guess what? They hit him in the 3-hole. And he had 4 hits and 4 RBIs. So, oh my God, Davis Schneider, dude, keep it going, please. I'm about to buy one of your shirts with the glasses and the mustache. I'm dropping it here. I'm buying it. I have to. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But to move on with the Blue Jays, we'll talk about somebody else. Kevin Kiermaier. He's been hitting a little bit better recently, too. But obviously, we got to talk about his defense. He made another incredible leaping catch in center field at the wall against the garage door in deep center field at Fenway. And he came down and scraped his arm on that garage door and he needed 8 stitches after it. Like, you could see his arm gushing blood. He came off the field with a towel wrapped around it and he was just like, ugh. But it's pretty cool. And as of right now, this team, who looks hot now, they just swept the Red Sox. They beat them 13-1 yesterday. They got a new possible budding emerging star in Davis Schneider. They hold the second AL wildcard spot, so that's fun. That's interesting. Oof, something that's not as fun and interesting. We're going to go to the Yankees and the Red Sox, but the Yankees just jumped ahead of the Sox in the East because the Sox just got swept by the Blue Jays, but they still need to figure it out right now or it's over. Like, they need to do it now. And Rodon just got hurt the other night. Stanton running like he's my grandma. Like, what's going on out here? So the Red Sox, we just talked about that tough series against Toronto. So they got swept. They fell behind the Yankees. And, I mean, I just said this about the Yankees, but if they want to do anything, they're going to have to do it right now. But these 2 teams are still available. They're still alive. The AL East, every team's above 500, so they're still in the hunt of the wild card. They're on the outside looking in, and they have not missed the playoffs. Both teams haven't missed the playoffs in the same season since 2014. But they still have a chance. Sliding over to the National League East, the Braves. I mean, they're still the MLB's best and most well-rounded team, but they did just lose a series to the Cubs, so they're not the hottest team, but they're still the best team. And Austin Riley and Matt Olson now have hit back-to-back home runs in a game in April, in a game in May, in a game in June, in a game in July, and now in a game in August. So 5 months in a row, they've hit back-to-back home runs. They're the only teammates in MLB history to have back-to-back homers in a game in 5 straight months in one season. Unreal. And this guy, Matt Olson, is scorching hot right now. He hit his 39th home run of the year yesterday, putting him 1 behind Shohei Ohtani. So he's on the heels of Mr. Showtime. So, like, what he's doing needs to be talked about more. He's about to have 100 RBIs. We got about a month and 3 weeks left, a month and a half, over a month and a half. And he's got 97 RBIs and 39 home runs, gaining on Shohei. Just saying. Just going to point that out there. And in a game this weekend, the Braves hit 6 extra base hits in a game. In a game this weekend, the Braves hit 6 extra base hits in the same inning. This tied the franchise record for the most in a single inning in the last 50 seasons. But they did just lose a series to the scorching hot Chicago Cubs at Wrigley, like I said. But they're still the best. So we'll move to Philly, and they're continuing to improve and play better as the season continues. Like, this team, they started off like, what's going on? Everyone was really, whoa. But, like, they're just slowly moving up and up and up and up and up. They started kind of down here, and they're just consistently making their way up through the whole season. And Trey Turner just had a roller coaster of a week. You ready for this mode? Trey Turner, he made a couple errors. They lost the game to Miami. He made an error in extra innings, which allowed the tying run to score. It would have been the last out of the game. It allowed the tying run to score. They end up losing in extras, getting walked off. And he was really struggling, getting some backlash from fans and social media because of it. And it's kind of like, where's Trey Turner? What's going on? But he came back home to Philly after Miami, and he got a standing ovation from the fans in Philly before his first at-bat, just for encouragement. And, like, it was really awesome to see. Like, he said his mom cried, and it was really awesome. And, I mean, it must have worked, because he ended up having 5 RBIs in the game with 3 hits, including a home run. So, I guess Philly fans, New York fans can learn from that, because Philly fans, that's the right way to do it. You like that mode? You got it in there? Hey, and how about this mode? I bet you don't even know about this one. Michael Lorenzen, who you guys just got in the trade at the trade deadline from Detroit, who was getting a lot of backlash for being the only Detroit Tigers All-Star because his numbers weren't great. He made his Phillies debut last week, and he became the first Phillies pitcher to throw 8 or more innings in his debut since July 31st of 2009. So pretty good stuff there from them. And right now, in the National League, the Phillies hold the NL's top wild card spot. So they're looking good. They look like they're going to get better, and they're hot. They look good right now. Hopefully, Trey Turner can use this momentum and keep going. Now we'll go back down to Miami, where they just played each other, and Trey Turner had a little bit of a rough time down there. But the newcomers for Miami are starting to do very good. Josh Bell, I mean, he was already tearing it up. He came in and tied the Marlins franchise record and became the 5th Marlins player to record 4 hits in their debut with the team. So he was already off and running as soon as he got down to Miami. And then Jake Berger ended up hitting his first homer with the team the other day. So hopefully both of those guys, 2 corner infield guys, can make a splash with the team because they've been struggling. Since the break, they've been struggling. And they don't look like the same team they were in the first half. You know, like they just look like a different team. They set the Marlins franchise record for wins in a first half of a season, but like it's just Jones. But they are a half game back for the wild card spot, so they still have a chance. And I mean, they're going to have to start playing better baseball now. It's going to have to start now. There's a bunch of teams that are going to have this same trend where it's like they're on the outside looking in. They're going to have to get it going right now. It's either the Marlins and a team that were in it and are falling out of it, or a team like the Yankees and the Red Sox who are kind of below it, and they have been all year. So we'll see if any of those teams can make a move and get back in towards the end of the season as a month and a half winds down. And we'll talk about the New York Mets very briefly. They've been in free fall since they got rid of all their good players. And the game after they traded away Verlander, like the night of the trade deadline, like after it was over, they lost on a walk-off balk. And Mets pitcher Josh Walker became just the 2nd pitcher in MLB history to balk without throwing a pitch. So he came in and he balked without even throwing a pitch, and they got walked off. And I mean, if that's not the worst way to lose a game as the relief pitcher, I don't know what is, because I mean, if you're giving up a walk-off homer, at least he earned it, you know? You're just flinching. Oh, it's tough. The Mets. But I mean, it's the Mets, and they've just looked so bad since they've sold everyone. It's tough to watch. Tough to watch. But the Nationals, they just swept the Reds in a 3-game series, currently on a 4-game winning streak. So like I said last week, they're the MLB's best worst team, you know, and they're still sitting at the bottom. Though they probably pass the Mets. I don't know. Mets look abysmal. They might pass the Mets, but they might end the season as the MLB's best last place team. Sorry. All right. And we're going to slide onto the American League Central now. And, I mean, oh, man, the Twins are so weird, man. They're so weird. They had a walk-off homer yesterday. Nice. They spoiled Paul Sewald's first outing for the D-backs. Hit a walk-off homer on him. But, I mean, they can't. They were the hottest team in the league for a week, and they were the worst team in the league for the week, and now they're only 2 games above 500, and, like, they're lucky that José Ramírez is about to get suspended. Like, what is going on? Sonny Gray earned his first win this weekend since April 30th versus the Royals. 15 straight starts without a win. It's a long time. That's a long time. And, I mean, I think they're going to win the division because, like, the Guardians, it's like, I don't know. But, like, who really knows what's going on here? I don't know if they have any chance. And speaking of the Guardians, we have to talk about it again. José Ramírez absolutely rocked Tim Anderson. Rocked him. Like, Tim Anderson's probably concussed. Tim Anderson, I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from this. Like, he's in a bad spot right now. He was an AL batting champ former 2 years, I think. Now he's hitting like 230. He's trying to pick fights. He's getting put on his ass. Like, we got problems. We got problems. And, I mean, this team is also really weird. I'm not sure why they traded away guys. It seems like they might have conceded. But, I mean, José Ramírez, you got to love José Ramírez. You can't not love José Ramírez. If you watch everything that Jose does, and then you watch him knock out Tim Anderson, like, oh, that's hilarious. He's so funny. And the Tigers, I mean, these bottom 3 teams in the Central are, I mean, so weird to watch, and they're just so, like, what kind of baseball are they going to, like, what are they doing? Like, you know, that's kind of what I feel when I watch them, and it's really weird. So, the White Sox, Tim Anderson has been involved in many scuffles. I've talked about this already. Josh Donaldson yesterday. And, I mean, he's going to get suspended. Josh Donaldson. José Ramírez is going to get suspended. We'll see what happens with that. They still haven't, 2 days after the fight, which is this recording this video, they have not suspended anybody. But this team isn't very good. And, I mean, I don't know. And the Royals, yeah, they're not very good either. But Bobby Witt Jr. is the lone bright spot on that team because this is wild. Bobby Witt Jr. is the first player in MLB history to have 20 or more home runs and 30 or more steals in each of his first 2 seasons in the league. So he's got a lot of promise to him. Very fast, he's got a lot of power too. You saw his walk-off homer the other week. He hit a homer in his next at-bat after that the next day. He's been making great plays in the field. I saw one at Yankee Stadium. He looks good. So now, National League Central, the Brewers, still leading the division, but very shaky over the last week. Very, very shaky. Like I said earlier, they had a chance to gain momentum in the division and gain a lot of ground, but they were too shaky and they weren't able to really get ahead. I think they're 3-7 in their last 10. Not great. And the number 2 team in the NL Central now, the Chicago Cubs, and they're just been on a different planet since the All-Star break. No one can stop them. Not like I said, not even the Braves, MLB's best team. They took 2 of 3 from Atlanta at Wrigley, but Wrigley seems like it's a crazy place to play there. You don't want to go there. And in the first 2 games of the series versus the Reds, the Cubs scored 36 runs. That's the most runs they've scored in 2 games in franchise history since 1897. 1897. That's 126 years ago. Wow. 36 runs in 2 games. And they finished the series with 46 runs scored. And this total matched their most in a 4-game set since 1890. 1890. Like, this is over 100 years ago. This is not even 1800s. They scored 164 runs since the break. I mean, that's ridiculous. And like I said, they're not only in the thick of this wild card race, because they're in it right now. They hold the last spot because they're tied with the Reds, but they hold the tiebreaker, so they're ahead of them. But they're right in this Central race, too. They could win this Central. Oh, my gosh. But like, so if the season ended today, the Chicago Cubs are in the playoffs. Crazy. And the Reds, the Reds have gone very cold, and my prediction here does not look great. 6 losses in a row. They don't have a win in August as of the 7th. But, I mean, Elly De La Cruz is still doing his thing. He had another home run this week at 113 miles an hour. And this time it was from the right side. It was his first home run of his career as a righty. And this puts his total number of home runs he's hit at 113 miles an hour or more at 3, which is the most by a Red in a single season in the StatCast era. And he's only been playing for 2 months. So he's got 3 homers, 313 miles an hour or harder. And that's the most by any Red ever in one season. And it's only, he hasn't played a full season. And like I said, they're tied with the Cubs for the last wild card spot, but the tiebreaker puts them on the outside looking in. And they brought up a starting pitcher to make his MLB debut the other day. Lyon Richardson. And the first pitch he threw was hit over the fence for a home run. So not a great start, but all right, shake it off. Like, let's get your next pitch. Let's get your first, like, maybe strike that doesn't get hit over the fence. Next pitch, home run again. So Lyon Richardson becomes the first player in Major League history to give up a homer on both, Lyon Richardson becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history to give up home runs on the first 2 pitches of his career. That's a bad start. That's a bad start. Eesh. Now we'll talk about the Pirates. There's nothing too crazy going on in Pittsburgh, you know. I mean, they've been playing a little bit better as of late, but, I mean, they're done. I wish this team was kind of competitive because I love McCutcheon and I want to watch him play, but the Cardinals have been very hard to watch this year. I mean, Nolan and Paul, they're fine. Nolan Gorman's also good, but... And then we'll jump to the West. And the Rangers are still clinging on to their lead in the division, but they took a couple hits. Jonah Heim's been out. He's been hurt for about a week or so now. But last night, Josh Young took a liner off of his thumb at third base, which he actually was able to turn a double play on. Dropped the ball, picked it up, stepped on third, threw to second for a double play. But he fractured his thumb on it. So, like, that's a big blow. Him and Jonah Heim both being out is not good. Both of them being out could be very bad, and the Astros could come in and take this chance. But, I mean, this offense is still ridiculous, and they can come back from any deficit. It doesn't matter. They're on a 6-game win streak without Jonah Heim. But now they're going to be without Jonah Heim and Josh Young, so let's see how deep they really are. See if they can really keep this together. And now we're going to move on to the Astros, of course, because why would they not? They just split a series with the Yankees, though, which is weird. That usually shouldn't happen, especially right now. But I think they're about to get hot. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. And Framber threw that no-hitter last week, like I touched on in the last video. But Martin Maldonado, the catcher, became just the 3rd catcher ever to catch 3 no-hitters or more. So, yeah. And they actually are in the 2nd wildcard spot right now, so everyone just beware. Just beware of them. And the Mariners. The Mariners just took a massive series, swept a massive series in Anaheim to get way ahead of the Angels. Biggest series of the year from them, and it puts them 1 spot out of a wild card. And Julio just got hot, and he might be getting hot at the right time. He needs to continue going. And Eugenio Suarez just broke the Mariners' franchise record set by Edgar Martinez by collecting an RBI in 10 straight games. And he made it 11 yesterday, too. So he's up to 11 games in a row. He broke it on Saturday and continued it with 11 yesterday. Crazy stuff there. And they are hot. Like, they have been good over the past month. They've won 20 games in July. Or they won 20 games in July, I'm sorry. But on the flip side, talk about the Los Angeles Angels. They're botching the season. Like, this was the biggest series of the year for the Angels, too. And they just got swept. Like, as a baseball fan, I want to watch Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs. So I see myself rooting for the Angels a little bit when I watch them play. And it's hard to watch. This series that they just lost to the Angels was such a heartbreaker. Like, they got swept at home in the biggest series of the year against Seattle, division rival, who they were, I think, ahead of or behind by half a game going into the series. And they blew 3 out of the 4 games. They didn't just lose them, they blew them. They've lost 6 games in a row now, and they're 7 games back of a wildcard spot. Like, come on. That is insane. Like, come on. They need Mike Trout. They need something. Like, this is crazy. But Shohei is still Shohei. And like we talked about earlier, he AL Player of the Month for July. And in one of the games that he pitched, right, he was removed for cramping in his fingers, right, against Seattle. But that didn't really stop the rest of his game because then he homered for his 40th of the year, and then he stole a base as well. And he became just the 3rd player since 1900 to have a scoreless pitching outing, hit a home run, and steal a bag in the same game. You want to hear the other 2 names? Christy Mathewson, old-timey pitcher, and Pablo Sandoval, the Kung Fu Panda. So the only 3 players since 1900 to have a scoreless pitching outing, hit a homer, and steal a bag in the same game, Shohei Ohtani, Christy Mathewson, and Pablo Sandoval. Yeah, Let that sink in for a sec. Pablo Sandoval. So good for him, but Shohei, again, on a different level, like he always is. And we'll go down to the bottom of the barrel in the AL West. So the boys, the Oakland Athletics, let's get it. Got their 80th loss of the year against the Dodgers earlier, but what did they do right after that? They swept the Giants in a 2-game set at home at the Coliseum. Nick Allen, like we touched on earlier, had his first career 2-home run game after he only had 1 homer the entire season, hit 2 in 1 day. Good for you, Nick. And Zach Geloff had his first career 3-hit game. And Zach Geloff ties Brian Lesher in 1996 for the most homers in their first 17 games in Oakland A's history with 5. So Zach Geloff, 5 homers in his first 17 games as an A, ties Brian Lesher for the most ever in first 17 games as an Oakland Athletic. Pretty great stuff there from Zach Geloff. He's been fun to watch. He's Mr. Extra Base. What? Ooh, I'm sorry you had to hear that. He's been Mr. Extra Base Hit since he's been called up. But he's been very good. Jeez, I need some water after that. Ooh. All right, rounding out our standings update with the National League West. And the National League West leading Los Angeles Dodgers, obviously. They had a weird little hiccup against the Padres this weekend where they lost 3 out of 4. But they still look good, though. Mookie Betts made his 30th start at second base against the Padres this weekend, and he became the 5th player since 1900 with at least 30 starts at second base and at least 60 starts in right field in the same season. So Mookie Betts is just showing his utility. He's played some games at short. He's played 30 at least at second, and he's played 60 at least in right. So he just does whatever you want him to do, and he loves doing it too. If you talk to him, he's the funniest guy ever. If you were watching Sunday Night Baseball last night, him and Freddie Freeman are just TV gold. It's hilarious. And Miguel Rojas hit his first homer of the year for the Dodgers. His first since June 26th of last season. And of course, it was against the A's, because why wouldn't it be? But good for Miguel Rojas. San Francisco, who the A's just swept in a 2-game set, got swept in Oakland. That's possibly something to worry about for them. I mean, you're not really supposed to get swept by us right now. That's not really good, especially when you're holding the second NL wildcard spot, which they currently have right now. So we'll see if that puts the Giants on any sort of skid or if they're able to bounce back from that. Oof, and we'll talk about the Diamondbacks, who were my NL West champions, division champions that I picked. Ooh, boy, my prediction is not looking good right now. It's slipping away. The D-backs have been the worst team in baseball since the All-Star break. Yeah, what's going on here? What's going on here? They can't pitch. Nobody can pitch except for Zach Allen, who might be the Cy Young in the National League, but nobody else can pitch. And they got Paul Sewald to be their closer, right? And his first save opportunity yesterday in Minneapolis against the Twins, the first pitch he threw was a home run to Max Kepler to tie the game. So 1-run game. First pitch, Paul Sewald throws for the Diamondbacks. Max Kepler takes him deep into the second deck to tie the game. So not a great start, not your ideal way to say hi to your new team. And then he ended up giving up a walk-off homer to Matt Wallner. And he didn't record an out in the inning. So, oh boy, that's probably... we talked about a couple bad starts, like that first 2 pitches of his career, home runs. First inning for your new team, that's not very good either. So they need to figure it out now. But, I mean, in that game, which ended off so miserably, they set a franchise record with 8 steals in 1 game. But didn't pan out for him. And like I said, my prediction for this division is absolutely slipping away. So they're going to have to turn that around if they're going to do anything. And with the Dodgers and the Giants ahead of them, it's going to happen now. And the Padres, as much as I've been talking bad about the Padres over the past 2 to 3 weeks, they have given themselves a shot. They just won a series against the Dodgers, which is very tough to do. They actually have a chance now. They're only 3 games out of a wild card spot. I mean, that's doable. And with the talent that they have, they could get hot right now. So I might have to eat my words in a couple weeks. So we're going to have to put a watch on that. Frank Idiot alert might be coming soon. And then the Colorado Rockies, nothing really new going on in Colorado. Nothing great except for those 2 outfield plays of the week by Brenton Doyle and Nolan Jones, sacrificing the body to make a play on the warning track and in the fence in foul territory. So those things were great. But that'll wrap it up for us here at the Bobby Valentine Sports Show. And make sure you follow us at Bobby Valentine Sports Show on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Subscribe to the Clips channel. We're getting those things going. And make sure you hit up the BV Sports Academy also on Twitter, Instagram, all the accounts. Hit up their YouTube as well. And hit up the bvacademy.com. So thank you so much and have a great day. Peace.